It's your boy Domination. Just back in the base that you're gonna do. So how we do things, baby. The Ogrebus, 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 it's right back in the basics. You're gonna do this how we do this, baby. Better than us back. You know what it is, know this, know this. Real man rise up, fake man rise down. Real man rise up, fake man rise down. Right about preach and preach on. And today's topic we're gonna talk about is I want to talk about these racial terms. When you hear these racial terms, when they say about Muslims, say about Asians, say about blacks, say about gays, homosexuals, you could say that much. What they say about colored people, black people, and Latino people, and Middle East and white people, a whole lot more. When you hear these racial terms, man, especially these racial terms, when you think of a black person, first thing you think when they hear the word nigger, not nigga, but nigger. It's still the same term. It's the same term, but it's speaking. It's the same term, but it's a different pronouncing of the term saying it. Because let's be honest, white people did create that word nigger. Let's be honest. Nigger meant dead. That's what it means. What they're trying to say that black people are a dead race. That's what they're trying to say. That we don't know who we are. We don't know our some place of belonging. We don't know where we come from. When I tell my people, only way to handle this situation, some white person call you a nigger, you need to say the same thing. If I'm a nigger, you're a nigger too. They wouldn't like that. Because it showed me right there, terms are terms. People need to look at these terms before they say it. Especially people that say it. Some people don't even know what the hell they say. Like Uncle Tom. Tom is a good person. It's the Sambo. People still use the word Uncle Tom and not read the Uncle Tom cabin. And then when you hear racial term of moon crickets, that's a racial term for a black person. Moon crickets, they try to say black people just standing there in the middle of the night singing slave songs. They sound like moon crickets. That's where moon crickets come from. When you hear porch monkey, they lazy on the porch and they act like monkeys. Like we can't take nothing seriously. When you hear these racial terms like that, prepare this for brothers and sisters, because these are racial terms that just came from other people's mouth and they don't even know what it means. But other people know what that means. But some of our people do know what it means. Some of our people don't know what it means. And anyone else don't know what it means. And the ones that do know what it means. Words are words. People going to say things anyway when you say some terms back at them. But I will say to this. When you hear the word ape means mad and you crazy. That's what they're trying to say. And when you hear these terms like that, prepare that, brothers and sisters. Like nigger bitch, like she's a nigger and a bitch. Like I said again, if you don't believe me that the N word what it meant and what it represents, they're not gonna tell you all that. Look at your major research of these racial terms. When the first thing you think of white person, what the first thing they say about white trash. White trash, they basically talking about they live in the trailer parks. They barely don't clean up their properties, and then probably meant the cleaning of their neighborhood. Some they say they live like a trash of waste, a dump of waste. That's what they saying when you hear the term white trash. Like the term redneck. Redneck is people working farm labor. They was stranded in rationment of their legs or something like that, and they wear handkerchief bandanas in their face That's what the term redneck came from. They was working on the mountain fields. I don't know how true that is, but that's what the term redneck came from. When you hear that word, same thing. You hear the word honky. Honky when a white person driving his horn, honking the horn at the black woman. That's what honky means. Crackers come from the slave of the whip and whip of the slave. You know, it make that whip sound. Whip, slave of the whip. And I'm trying to think of other terms. Oh man, Peckerwood. Peckerwood is company packing of the woods. They chopping woods. They packing up the wood. They chopping the woods. And when you hear terms like that, what described not only by black people but white people as well. I tell the white people, if they say some racial terms to you, you should say to them, if I'm a white trash, you're a white trash. You're waste dump yourself. So be prepared when you hear these terms saying that. When you think of Asian people, what's the first thing they say about Asians? They Orientals, they chink, they bad drivers and stuff like that. Oriental, they oriented. That's what they're saying. Chink, they can't see their eyes straight, and that's wrong. And same thing, the word nigger and white trash and cracker. People need to stop all these things terms and they don't know what it means. And first thing they say about Asians, they bad drivers. They smart, and the first thing they say about Asians eat eating dogs and cats. That's not true. Most of them do, but all of them don't eat that like that. They eat everyday fresh food like anyone else. They eat pizza, burgers, like any other food. They eat Chinese food as well. Orange chicken. Orange chicken's definitely good. You gotta try it. And every other cultures though. And then when you mock their language, when you think of Muslims, what's the first thing you hear about Muslims? They terrorists. They don't like America. They suicide bombers. That is not true. That is not true. That's why the number one problem is religion, because religion was based upon people try to force their beliefs to make force on your beliefs to make you want to believe of your belief. Just like they force their beliefs to make you force of their beliefs. Let's not force our belief to anybody and respect other people's belief what define what their religion is. That's the number one problem. You got the Muslim been hated for this, and you got the Jews hated for this. And it's kind of sad. Even Christians, in most part, when first thing they think of Jewish community, that's the first thing they think Jews own Hollywood. That is not true in some ways, but not always. First thing they think they own the banks. That's not true. That's the first thing they think of Jewish community. When you think of Italians, first thing you hear about Italians, they join in the mob and stuff like that, and they stuff bodies in the freezer and make their body disappear. And they do the same thing to say about Asians. They cut bodies up and roast them up, and that's not always true. Don't believe that. Some people do that, but all people don't do that. And the first thing they think of Latino people, all Latinos are Mexicans. Yeah, there's some are Mexican, but there's some are Puerto Ricans, there's some are Dominicans, there's some Cubans, there's some Brazilian, there's some Peru. There's all different part of Latino. Don't say all Latinos are Mexican. Just ask what part of Latino they is. They'll tell you. But if you say Mexican, now some would say they're Mexican, but some Latinos say they're not Mexican. They get really angry about that when they hear it, especially when you go to New York, when you go to other places. There's not a lot of Mexican population, especially California and Texas. But you go to New York, there's Puerto Rican population there, and Dominican. You go to Miami, it's Cubans. You go to other side of Miami, Orlando, Florida. There's Puerto Ricans there. You go all these other countries. There's different parts of Latinos. Now there's a couple of Brazilian population in Brazil, and some might be in Texas. But other than that, you have to be careful when you say that. Just ask what part Latino they is. Just like you ask people what the part white, part black, part Middle East, part anywhere. And the first thing they think of our people, especially our women, thinking our black women's hair is not real. There are black women who are wear their hair natural, but all of them don't wear no weaves. Some wear hair patches, that's from whites and all that, or some of them or shave their heads, or they have hair cancer, so they wear a waist up wigs. So let's kill all these racial terms when you hear it. When you hear these racial terms, look it up before what it means. I never forget, it was African kids asked me what an African booty scratcher meant. I don't know what it meant when they asked me, but when I look it up, African booty scratcher meant when they say it is they need somebody scratch. They can't scratch their own ass. They need somebody scratch their ass for them. That is cold. That is cold. That is cold. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's messed up. I'm against racism. That's the problem. Homophobia and even sexism. That's another thing. When the first thing Latinos, they think all Latinos mow the lawn, the grass, cut the grass, and the first thing wetback, they cross to the border, they swim out of a specific rivers to cross the border between Mexico and Texas. That's not true. And spick meaning spick me, they speak Spanish, but they can't speak English. I mean that is sad because it shows right there that when you hear these racial terms, when you hear it, just like dirty Germans is Puerto Ricans. They because they look dirty and look like a German. I mean, when you hear these racial terms, you need to look it up before people say it. But the worst offensive word of them all is nigger. Nigger is the worst offensive word. Some people say cracker. Some people say spig. Some people say terrorists or dead Indians or redskin. They red off the skin and slave off the Indians. That's just sad. Let's just stop the racism and live in humanity, live in human beings, and racism will end completely as shortly and always completely as shortly, and live as right as being human beings and being the way we is and way we are. And fight racism, fight humanity, fight for your life, and fight with anyone's life and help out to fight for your life. And that's all I gotta say about that. And it's your boy Domination. This is Back in the Basics. Checking the deuces. How we do, Texas, baby. Until next time, all right? All right. Peace and I'm out.